So I'm standing in the airport after waiting for all day for my belongings to pass through the machine. And once they do, I start to grab all my stuff and put it on. And as I'm walking to go to my gate to leave on the plane, I'm walking around and I realize that my feet are getting cold. So I look down and realize that my shoes, the one thing that I kind of need, are not on my feet. This is one thing in my life that I can recall where I've been affected by my ADHD. I was so distracted by my other thoughts in my own head that I forgot to put on my own shoes. With that being said, I will inform everyone about the effects of ADHD, and not only in school but in everyday life as well. ADHD not only affects people on a much broader scale than most people assume, but people usually associate struggling in school with ADHD. But they also struggle with their emotions as well, their everyday lives, and just their work aspect. So today I will talk to you about the effects of ADHD in school life, their everyday life, and their emotions. My first topic will be the effects on school life. ADHD is a very difficult condition to have during school years. I know this from experience. Not only is it hard to focus and listen into classes, but it is hard to just want to do the work in the first place. It's also hard to have a very good attitude about it, because when you have ADHD, you don't really want to do the work because you get tired of not being able to focus on the work itself. That being said, Dr. Ming Guyan, a psychologist in Berkeley, California, said that ADHD students in their first year of high school reported being less motivated and connected and having higher suspension rate compared to state benchmarks. This shows that people with ADHD not only have to worry about their school life and trying to be successful, but also how hard it is to control their emotions. Which leads me to people with ADHD, with how people with ADHD can really struggle with their emotions, and not only to struggle having different types of emotions all day, every day, but how to control those emotions itself. Mainly in kids with ADHD, they have a tough time being able to control their daily and regular emotions. For example, one problem to someone without ADHD can be a minor situation and not really seem like a big deal, but to someone with ADHD, it could mean a detrimental situation. In their head, they're thinking, it's a lot worse than it actually is. Gamze Yapka, an MD at Turk University, said that these behaviors cause inappropriate communication with peers and can result in rejection by others, along with failure to make or carry on friendships. This shows how difficult it is to live life and be able to control your emotions with ADHD. See, not being able to control it can lead to being in fights with your friends and your family members and saying the wrong things when you don't actually mean it. Now try to imagine dealing with these downsides all day, every day. For people with ADHD, this happens every day of their lives. There's no break for them. They don't get away from it. These qualities of ADHD are very hard to live with and control, and can lead to depression and all other types of disorders. I know personally what it's like to live with ADHD and how it can be detrimental to any person's life and how they turn out. Christian Meyer said this: ADHD confers significant risk for poor outcomes in adolescent and adult mental health, economic success, and school performance. This shows that ADHD doesn't just affect a certain aspect in one's life, but affects their entire life as a whole. People being more informed on the effects of ADHD and how it affects the world they live in will help them to better understand what it's like living with this condition. ADHD affects people's whole life, not just certain parts of it. So I want y'all to think about what your life would look like and how you would act and how you would be if you had ADHD.